Before you utter, "I'm sorry," one more time, pause. You need to grasp a profound truth that will forever alter your perception of power, respect, and human nature. Do you apologize without being genuinely wrong? Do you offer apologies merely to maintain an artificial peace? Do you believe that saying, "sorry," elevates you, signaling maturity and strength? If any of these resonate, you are about to confront the most damaging error of your life. The world has perpetuated a dangerous myth that apologizing demonstrates character, courage, and earns respect. The stark reality is this: every unnecessary apology is an act of self-disarmament, a piece of your power casually discarded for others to trample. Your apologies aren't building bridges, they're excavating your own grave. Recognized this brutal dynamic centuries ago. He observed leaders who frequently apologized, ultimately losing everything. He witnessed well-intentioned individuals, quick to say sorry, being crushed by the very people they sought to appease. He uncovered a pattern that few dared to acknowledge. Today, we will expose the devastating cost of insincere apologies, the steep price you pay each time those two words escape your lips. In the moments ahead, you will understand why your constant apologies render you invisible, why people exploit rather than respect your sorry, and crucially, how to cease this self-sabotage to finally command the respect you inherently deserve. This is not a call to become a callous monster, nor an injunction against acknowledging genuine errors. Instead, it's about discerning the critical difference between strategic accountability and desperate apology, between owning your actions and surrendering your fundamental power. Because in the relentless arena where everyone vies for respect, apologizing without a clear strategy is akin to entering a battlefield without armor. You will be utterly destroyed. Declare your intent by affirming, "From this pivotal moment, everything shifts." You will no longer offer blind apologies. You will grasp the true cost of those two words and learn that silence can be a far more potent force than sorry. Let's confront the first brutal truth. Listen intently. With every "I'm sorry," a part of you diminishes. Your presence, your energetic footprint, your very right to occupy space recedes. You might perceive this as politeness or consideration, but in truth, you are actively shrinking yourself. Observe your body when you apologize. A curved spine, a collapsed chest, a voice that fades, eyes that avoid contact. You literally contract. This isn't just physical, it's your spirit retreating, your power dissipating, an unspoken declaration to the universe. "I don't deserve to be here." And the universe and those around you heeds that signal. They see you vanishing and treat you as someone who is indeed disappearing, someone inconsequential, easily ignored, effortlessly erased. You become invisible. Not from quietness or humility, but from perpetually apologizing for your own existence, for breathing the same air, for daring to occupy space that is rightfully yours. The world is filled with individuals aggressively expanding, claiming territory and pushing outward. Every apology you make is a surrender of your ground, an offering of your space, a whispered, "Here, take this piece of me. I didn't deserve it anyway." You question why people disregard you, yet you've just shown them where to step. You wonder why your opinions hold no weight, yet you've apologized for them before they were even voiced. You seek seriousness, yet you've demonstrated you don't take yourself seriously. Your incessant apologies are a glaring signal flare that screams, "I am vulnerable, I am weak, I am beneath you. Come dominate me." People respond to this not out of malice, but because this is the fundamental law of power. It gravitates toward those who claim it and recedes from those who relinquish it. Every "I'm sorry" is a capitulation, a white flag waved. Each retreat trains your environment that you are someone who will always yield, always be conquered, someone whose presence is optional. Since love and fear can hardly exist together, if we must choose between them, it is far safer to be feared than loved. You seek love and acceptance through your apologies, attempting to foster comfort. Yet you make yourself forgettable, erasable, irrelevant. When you are respected, not terrorized, but respected, you are remembered. Your presence registers. People hesitate before dismissing, pause before interrupting, and consider you before acting. This is the profound existence you sacrifice with every unnecessary apology. Stop apologizing for simply being. You possess an inherent right to this space, this breath, this moment, as much as anyone else. When you apologize, you're not offering closure. You're creating an insatiable craving in the recipient, a hunger for more of your submission. Picture this. You offer someone a taste of the most potent substance imaginable, power over another human being. That initial apology is their first hit. Like any addictive substance, it opens a door that can never truly be shut. When you submit, apologize, or humble yourself, their brain releases dopamine. They feel elevated, superior, victorious. Winning is intoxicating. Their brain now craves that sensation repeatedly. You've activated their reward system and you've become the perceived supplier. Except you're not in control, the addiction is. They will now subconsciously manufacture reasons for you to apologize. They'll become hypersensitive, finding offense where none exists, chasing that rush of dominance, that hit of superiority. Observe your life. The individuals you apologize to most frequently are often the ones most easily offended by you. This isn't coincidence, it's conditioning. You've trained their brain, being upset with you leads to the reward of your submission. Their conscious mind may believe their complaints are valid, but their unconscious is running a program. Get upset with this person, they apologize, I feel powerful, repeat. You're trapped in a feedback loop designed to siphon every ounce of power from you and transfer it to them. This hunger is never satisfied. You cannot apologize enough to satiate them. You cannot submit deeply enough to make them content because satisfaction would end the supply, and addicts never want the supply to end. They will continually push, finding new reasons for hurt, new demands for apology, escalating the bar of what's required from you. A single apology becomes a constant lifestyle of self-effacement. You believe you're preserving peace or connection, but you're merely feeding a monster that grows with each apology, eventually consuming you entirely. The most brutal part? They'll blame you when it all inevitably collapses. You're always apologizing. You clearly have so many issues. I can't deal with someone constantly messing up. You initiated the pattern through submission, and now they use that pattern as proof of your brokenness. Men are so simple and so ready to obey present necessities that he who deceives will always find those who allow themselves to be deceived. You are deceiving yourself, believing apologies solve problems when they create dependencies and addictive power dynamics. The only escape is to cease feeding the addiction. Stop providing the fix. Let them experience the withdrawal. Yes, they will escalate, grow angry, employ every tactic to pull you back. But you are not responsible for their addiction, only for stopping your role as the supplier. Your apologies don't vanish into thin air. They are carved into a permanent record, destined to be used against you. Each "I'm sorry" becomes an entry in a file titled Evidence of Failure. Human memory doesn't record events objectively, it constructs narratives. Your apologies are actively writing the most damaging story about you. An apology for being late isn't remembered as they apologized. It's remembered as they are unreliable. An apology for a work error isn't they acknowledged a mistake. It's they are incompetent. An apology for an upsetting comment isn't they were considerate. It's they are problematic. Each apology is a data point, and humans are wired for pattern recognition. These data points coalesce into a narrative. This person is consistently failing. Your single apology for lateness, despite 100 on-time arrivals, often outweighs those successes because apologies are emotionally charged. They stick. They create lasting impressions. Contrast this with someone who was late 10 times but never apologized. Their narrative. They're busy. They're important. They have a lot going on. You apologized once. You're unreliable. They never did. They're important. This is the skewed logic of perception shaped by apologies. It worsens. These memories don't remain isolated. They merge, creating a compound narrative far greater than its individual parts. Your apology for lateness, combined with a work error apology, combined with a regrettable comment, morphs you into someone who is always apologizing, and therefore, someone who is always doing something wrong. This becomes your brand, the filter through which all your actions are interpreted. A good deed. They're trying to compensate. A neutral action. They'll probably mess it up soon. A questionable act. There they go again. Your apologies build a confirmation bias where everything you do reinforces the narrative of you being problematic. This record is permanent. Years later, you will still be remembered as that person who was always apologizing. Not for what, but for the pervasive feeling of your constant submission. You might try to change, stop apologizing, stand firm. But others will resist because their record of you says otherwise. Breaking this perception is almost impossible because you meticulously constructed it. Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are. Your apologies construct an appearance of perpetual faultiness, and that appearance becomes their reality. It matters little who you truly are. What matters is what your apologies have documented you to be. Understand that every apology is permanent, archived, documented in a record that will follow you. Do you wish to add another entry to this self-incriminating file, or are you finally ready to cease building the case against yourself? Grasp this fundamental psychological truth. People are perpetually seeking a target for blame. When things go awry, everyone's brain instinctively scans for someone to pin it on. And your apologies have painted a giant bullseye squarely on your back. The moment you apologize for anything, you establish yourself as the type of person who accepts responsibility, takes blame, admits fault. This sounds noble until you realize you've just volunteered to be everyone's scapegoat. You've raised your hand and effectively said, "I'm the designated blame taker when things go wrong." And people will relentlessly take you up on that offer. A broken item must be you apologize, a failed project, probably your fault, you always take responsibility. Someone is upset. You should apologize, that's your role, isn't it? You've created a gravitational field where all blame within your orbit is pulled directly to you. You are an accountability black hole, absorbing responsibility for things you didn't do, couldn't control, and shouldn't be blamed for. Because you've established the pattern of apologizing, everyone's default assumption is that you are the problem. Why else would you constantly apologize? This logic is inverted, yet it's how human minds operate. Causation and correlation blur. Frequent apologies plus existing problems, you are causing the problems. Watch a group when something goes wrong. Eyes will turn to you, not necessarily because they know you're at fault, but because you're the safe, reliable target, the one who won't resist, too busy apologizing. You've made yourself the easiest route for blame, and blame, like water, always follows the path of least resistance. Meanwhile, others have learned the inverse. By never apologizing, they sidestep blame. By never admitting fault, they are assumed faultless. When problems arise, they remain silent, allowing uncomfortable tension to build. They wait for someone to break it. And who breaks it? You with an apology, even if you were entirely uninvolved. You intend to be helpful to move things forward to ease tension. Instead, you're volunteering for execution for crimes you didn't commit. Twist, the more blame you accept, the more it's expected of you. Your pattern of apologizing creates an unwritten contract. When you don't apologize, people become angry. Why aren't you saying sorry? You always do. Any attempt to cease is seen as shirking responsibility. You've constructed a prison of your own apologies, and now everyone expects you to remain confined. They depend on your willingness to be blamed. It simplifies their lives, gives them a target, and absolves them of self-reflection. They've forgotten how to take responsibility because you've done it for them. The promise given was a necessity of the past. The word broken is a necessity of the present. Your past apologies have forged promises about your role. Breaking these promises, refusing to be the scapegoat, is the necessity of your present. People will dislike it. They'll resist, accuse you of changing, selfishness, not caring. Let them. Their discomfort is not your burden. Their need for a scapegoat is not your responsibility. You are done being the magnet for blame. You are done accepting accountability for what isn't yours. You are done apologizing to fill silence. Let the silence linger. Let others squirm. Let them experience life without a convenient target. Let them discover that perhaps they are the ones who owe an apology. Confront this unsettling truth. When you apologize and someone utters, "I forgive you," they are often setting a trap into which you've just willingly stepped. Genuine forgiveness is rare, demanding immense effort, grace, and true letting go. What most people do when accepting your apology is far different. They file it away, storing it for future deployment. Your apology instantly becomes ammunition to be used against you at their convenience. "I forgive you" often means the slate isn't wiped clean. It's filed and stored in a vault labeled "Things I can bring up when I need to win." You believe you're resolving conflict, but you're forging future weapons. Weeks, months, even years pass. You assume the issue is dead, buried, but it merely hibernates, awaiting the opportune moment to resurrect. Then, in an unrelated disagreement, suddenly, "Remember when you apologized for that thing? I'm starting to see a pattern here." You're stunned. It was resolved, wasn't it? Wrong. It was never resolved. It was documented. Your apology provided a time-stamped record of your failure, ready to be referenced when they need to put you in your place. This is the forgiveness trap. You seek peace, but you achieve an armed truce, a peace with a weapon aimed at your head, lasting only as long as they choose not to pull the trigger. And they will pull it when they need to win an argument, feel superior, or justify their own behavior by highlighting your past mistakes. Your old apologies will rise like zombies, dead issues shamble back to life to devour you. You apologized for this before, clearly you haven't changed. "I forgave you once, but here we are again." "You promised you wouldn't do this, remember?" Your attempts at accountability morph into proof of perpetual failure. Your acknowledgments of past errors become evidence of inability to grow. Your apologies become chains binding you to your worst moments forever. The non-apologizer faces none of this. No stored ammunition, no documented failures, no wrongdoing. When conflict arises, they face it with a clean slate. You drag the cumulative weight of every apology you've ever made. The most disturbing aspect, some actively seek your apologies not for closure but for weaponry. They push you to apologize precisely to gather material for later use. They collect your apologies like trading cards. The more they have, the more power they wield over you. Your submission fuels their arsenal. And the most perverse part, they will smile while doing it, acting gracious as they forgive, playing the role of the benevolent, bigger person. Yet behind that smile, they are calculating how and when to deploy your apologies against you. This is human nature at its most calculating. Men ought either to be well treated or crushed because they can avenge themselves of lighter injuries. Of more serious ones they cannot. Your apologies are lighter injuries to yourself. Light enough to survive, light enough to repeat, but accumulating to build a case that will eventually crush you. Either cease apologizing entirely or understand that every apology is ammunition freely handed to someone who might one day use it to destroy you. The choice is yours. Something vital within you is dying, often unnoticed, with every apology you utter. Your inner fire, your core strength, your fundamental conviction that you deserve to exist without seeking permission. Every unnecessary apology doesn't just alter external perceptions, it rewrites your internal programming. It teaches your brain a devastating lesson. I am not enough. Your brain internalizes everything you say, especially about yourself. Constant apologies translate into, I'm wrong, I'm faulty, I'm the problem, I'm unworthy. Hear this message often enough, and it becomes your identity, the foundation of your self-perception, the lived truth of your existence. Over time, you begin to second-guess every word. Should I say this? I'll probably apologize later anyway. You question every decision. Should I do this? I'll likely mess up and need to say sorry. You doubt every choice, every action, every breath, because your incessant apologizing has convinced your brain that you are perpetually flawed. Your inner fire, that spark of certainty, that core of confidence, that flame of self-belief, flickers, dims, then dies. Once extinguished, what remains? A hollow shell. Someone who navigates life seeking permission, apologizing for breathing, having forgotten their right to stand tall. You become a ghost in your own life, present yet absent, existing without truly living, speaking yet unheard. You have apologized yourself into oblivion, submitted yourself into irrelevance, shrunk yourself into near disappearance. Real confidence it's an internal knowing that you deserve to be here, that your thoughts matter, that your presence holds value. Every apology chips away at this knowing. Every I'm sorry is a vote against yourself, a declaration to your soul. We don't matter. Cast enough such votes, and your soul begins to believe it. Your inner fire starts to accept that perhaps you don't deserve to burn brightly, to stand tall, to exist powerfully. This is how individuals destroy themselves, not through a single massive trauma, but through 1,000 minuscule submissions, years of apologizing for existing, decades of shrinking to accommodate others. Once that inner fire dies, reigniting it is an almost insurmountable task, having spent so long suffocating it that you've forgotten the sensation of its warmth. You observe confident individuals, speaking with certainty, commanding respect, and mistakenly believe, that's not me. I'm not like that, but you are like that. Or you were before you apologized it away, before you submitted it into silence, before you shrank it into nothingness. Where the willingness is great, the difficulties cannot be great. Your willingness to apologize has been immense, and it has rendered your life difficult, painful, small. But your willingness can and must change. Continuing this path leads to a death that occurs while you still breathe. From this moment, guard your inner fire as if your life depends on it, because it does. That fire defines you, empowers you to stand, speak, and exist with purpose. Stop dousing it with apologies. Stop suffocating it with submission. Stop extinguishing it with constant retreat. Instead, nourish it. Nourish it with moments of unwavering resolve. Nourish it with words spoken without apology. Nourish it with decisions made without seeking permission. Nourish it with an existence that demands no forgiveness. Let it grow, let it burn. Let it remind you what it truly feels like to be alive, not merely apologizing for it. Everything culminates in this final revelation. The most powerful response is often no response at all. You've been conditioned to believe silence is weakness, that non-apology is stubbornness or cruelty, that saying nothing signifies indifference. These are all falsehoods, meticulously designed to keep you apologizing, to keep you small. True power resides in strategic silence, in knowing precisely when to speak and when to allow the void to do the work for you. When a problem arises, your first impulse is to fill the awkward space with an apology, to smooth things over, to alleviate discomfort. But that discomfort, that tension, that awkwardness, it is not yours to resolve. Let it linger. Let others squirm. Let them experience the discomfort of an easy target not rushing to apologize. Silence is a mirror. When you remain silent instead of apologizing, people are forced to confront themselves, to examine their own roles, to sit with their own discomfort. Most cannot bear this. They will pressure you, create more tension, demand an apology, hold your ground. Let the silence expand, becoming unbearable for them, not for you. Eventually, someone else will speak. Someone else will take responsibility. Someone else will apologize. And in that moment, the power dynamic irrevocably shifts. You are no longer the designated blame taker. Someone else just volunteered. Or, even better, the silence compels everyone to move forward without any apology or scapegoat, addressing the issue through action rather than through your self-degradation. Strategic silence is powerful because it refuses to play the expected game. It denies people the conditioned response they anticipate from you. It shatters the pattern. It forces a reset. Where you would typically apologize, say nothing. Where you would explain, say nothing. Where you would defend, say nothing. Simply hold your space. Exist without apologizing for it. This will profoundly unsettle people. They are accustomed to your apologies, to you filling the void, to you making things easy. Your silence disrupts their entire expectation. Good. Let them be disrupted. Let them be uncomfortable. Let them discover that you will no longer play your assigned role. Here's the crucial distinction. Strategic silence is not passive. It's not avoidance or retreat. It is an active, deliberate choice to not surrender your power through unnecessary words. When genuine acknowledgement is required, offer it strategically, brief, clear, forward-focused. Here's what happened, here's what's next. No apology, no groveling, no submission, just facts and decisive movement. But most situations don't even demand that. Most simply require you to stop apologizing and allow reality to unfold without your constant interference. The wise man does at once what the fool does finally. The fool endlessly apologizes, eventually realizing it destroyed them, and finally stops. The wise person understands from the outset that strategic silence possesses greater power than desperate apologies. Be wise. Cease filling every awkward moment with submission. Stop smoothing every rough edge with apologies. Stop diminishing yourself to make others comfortable. Stand firm in your silence. Stand firm in your power. Stand in the certainty that you owe no one an apology for existing, for being human, for making normal mistakes, for occupying space. Your silence is not emptiness. It is fullness. It is strength. It is your understanding that some voids are not yours to fill. Everything has converged to this moment, the moment you choose who you will be from now on. You've witnessed the brutal cost of incessant apologies, how it obliterates your presence, creates an insatiable hunger for your submission in others, builds a permanent record against you, makes you a magnet for blame, traps you in false forgiveness, and extinguishes your inner fire. And you've learned how strategic silence can be your salvation. What will you do with this knowledge? Will you continue to live as you have, apologizing through life, shrinking daily, relinquishing your power word by word until nothing remains? Or will you rise now and declare an end to it? Done submitting, done apologizing for existing, done allowing others to feast on your power. Knew the world is a battlefield, not always physical, but undeniably one of power, respect, and positioning. And on this battlefield, those who consistently surrender do not survive. You needn't be cruel or heartless. You needn't harm anyone. But you must stop harming yourself through constant, unnecessary apologies. From this moment forward, before you say, "I'm sorry," pause, ask yourself, is this apology truly necessary, or am I merely surrendering power out of habit? Most often, you will find it unnecessary. What is necessary is your strength, your boundaries, your refusal to be the designated apologizer any longer. When genuine acknowledgement is required, offer it strategically. Brief, clear, strong, then move forward. No dwelling, no groveling, no death of your inner fire. And when people pressure you to apologize, guilt-tripping you for standing your ground, recall everything learned today. Remember that their discomfort with your strength is not your problem. Remember that you are not responsible for making everyone comfortable with dominating you. Your life is about to transform not because the world changes, but because you change. Because you cease giving away your power. Because you stop apologizing yourself into oblivion. If this message ignited something within you, hit that like button. For more liberating truth, subscribe and enable notifications. Share this video with anyone who desperately needs it. You might spare them years of needless suffering. Your apologies, used blindly, have been weapons against yourself. When eliminated strategically, your power returns. In a world designed to diminish you, refusing to shrink is an act of revolution. Standing tall when expected to bow is power. Speaking without apology when submission is anticipated is freedom. Stop apologizing for existing. Start commanding the life you deserve. Stop making yourself small. Start reclaiming the space that is rightfully yours. The brutal cost of apologies ends today. Your power begins now. Thank you for watching.